Now we are discussing usage of switch in computer network. We had many types of switches. Maybe in electronics we have had SPST switches, SPDT switches, DPST switches and DPDT switches. Switch means always we want to connect one point to another point. That connection can be controlled by this switch by turning it on or off. Similarly, here switch is a computer network device. We use this switch to connect all the computers together. Either to establish the connection between any two computers, this switch, which is a computer networking device, this switch is very much useful to us. Here you can see the structure of this switch. We receive the information in the form of the packets. If we are receiving the information from the network layer to the data link layer. In this packet, there is an information mentioning that where that packet has to go. This packet is nothing but we will make as a group of frames. Here we will decode the destination address and we will try to send the data to the destination address. While sending the data to the destination address, in the communication link, if the communication link is busy, sometimes we may store the data in the buffer. That type of switch is called as store and forward switch. If we do not have this buffer, we will check for the busyness of the communication link where we want to transmit the data to the required output, means destination address. If the destination is busy in receiving data from some other port, from some other source, then we will wait until it becomes free. After that only we will send the data. That's how we will send the data in the store and forward switch. We will discuss about that. So after receiving the packets, we will check for the address. If the address is known, then we will forward the message. After decoding that address, we will forward the message to a particular destination address. Here, this switch is acting like a hub. But like in the star topology, we discussed hub. Hub is a centralized part. Whenever each node wants to communicate, they will communicate by using this hub only. We discussed in star topology. Here, this computer network switch, it acts even more efficient than the hub. It is acting like hub, there is no doubt, but it is even acting more efficiently than the hub we discussed in the star topology. This is like a multi-port bridge. This is which we can connect the multi-ports. You can observe in the nowadays router. We will have that router is acting like a router plus a switch that we discussed in the previous classes. We will have the multi-ports. So this is a multi-port bridge. We can connect one or more devices to this multi-port bridge. Here whatever the buffer we are using, in the store and forward switch, each time, whenever we are sending the data, for each one, we have a connected receiving link. You can see, one link is connected here. For 1, 2, 3, 4, all these are buffers. So, these buffers store the data before sending. And once they check the address, after checking the address, if the address is free, there is no transmission of the data to that address. Then these buffers will give the data and the data will be sent to the outgoing address. If the address destination is busy in receiving data from some other source, then the data will be stored in this buffer. Mainly these switches are two types. Cut through switch and the next one is store and forward switch. Cut through switch means again this switch will read the first few bytes of the information. After reading the first few bytes of the information, it will check for the source and the destination address, and after checking the destination address, we are using a processor here, application specific integrated circuit processor. We are saying this is ASIC processor. By using this processor, we are sending the data to the destination. But here, while we are sending the data, we are not checking the errors. This is the drawback of the cut-through switch. Simply, we are sending the data. If it is busy, we are not sending. If it is not busy, we are sending. Sometimes errors may occur. Errors are forwarded. We are forwarding the errored frames also. Source to destination links once we connect by using the cut-through switch. Then until the information is exchanged, until the information is reached the destination, the link will not be terminated. Once the information reached the destination, once the communication is completed, then only the link will be terminated. Whereas in store and forward switch, when we are sending the information, when there is a chance of the error in the frame, those frames will be discarded immediately. Those packets which we are sending, which is nothing but group of frames we discussed from network layer when they are coming, immediately those frames will be discarded and remaining information without the errors will be sent to the destination. So this is the advantage of the store and the forward switch. Because we are using buffer here, storage is possible. Once again we are discussing, like any switching action, computer network switch also, it connects the different computers. Simply it is performing the on and off operation, but this time we are on and off. We are doing that on and off between the two computers, whether to establish the connection or whether to not establish the connection. That will be done by using this computer network switch. We discussed here mainly two types of the switches, cut-through switch and the second one is store and forward switch. In cut-through switch or in store and forward the switch, after receiving the data, first what we will do, we will read the source and destination address. After reading the source and destination address, we will try to send to the destination address immediately in the cut-through switch. But here we will wait for some time in the buffer. We will check whether the receiving link is free or not. If it is free, the data will be sent here. If it is free, the data will be sent here. There is no problem. If it is not free, the data will be in the waiting mode. But here there is no chance for the waiting mode. Here there may be chance for the errors in the data. But here there is no chance for because we are discarding, whenever we are finding the errored frames, we are discarding the errored frames. That's why we are expecting at the destination error-free frames. Okay, now you tell me, in these both switching techniques, cut-through switch or store and forward switch, in which technique we are discarding the errored frames? Store and forward switch. In which technique we are using the buffer? Store and forward. Because we are storing information. In which switch we are not storing the information? Cut through switch. There is a more chance for the errors because we are not waiting. We immediately want, but the line is busy. Again we will try to send the data. This is how the transmission will happen. And we have discussed whenever we are checking the address, if the outgoing link, once if it is established here, until the communication is completed, the link will not be terminated here in the cut through switch. And in store and forward switch, when the link is free, then the data from the buffer will be sent to that. This is about the computer networking switch.